Welcome to the Official Personality Guru. When INFJs experience grief, they will initially look inwards to try to process what happened privately. Unfortunately, this means that they often blame themselves for things that might have been caused by an outer source. They will usually withdraw from people for a while, processing the emotions and trying to understand the implications of what happened and the meaning of it all. Over time, they will seek support if they have a trusted confidant. But if there is nobody they are especially close to, they will usually keep quiet. They are concerned with how other people are handling grief as well and will seek to support other people in their emotions. They can get stuck experiencing everyone else's pain and lose sight of processing their feelings. They can also overdo being supportive and forget to take care of themselves. If despair or stress is chronic, INFJs may fall into a state of overindulgence or hypersensory awareness. This takes on different forms for different INFJs. Some will overeat, some drink too much, some exercise or clean excessively. The overarching theme, however, is that they get stuck doing impulsive, indulgent activities or obsessing over details. Today, let's talk about INFJ loss and how the INFJ copes with the many forms of losses. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to the Official Personality Guru and ring the bell icon to get regular updates on our latest uploads. And if you like this video, click the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Loss is never really enjoyable to endure, even for those who can cope well with it. Having to deal with losing something or someone can be one of the most painful experiences. There are many different kinds of losses we can experience in life. Sometimes this is death, and other times it is simply a change that forces us to lose something meaningful. Whether it be a small loss or something major, experience letting go of something so important to you can be truly painful, and for some it is overwhelming. Each person has their way of processing these feelings. For some, the idea of letting go hits them much harder, and for others, it is something they seem to handle much better. For the INFJ, loss can be a somewhat crippling experience, especially when it is the loss of someone they love. INFJs don't deal well with change, and losing something or someone deeply important can be overwhelming for them. While INFJs are caring and warm people, understanding and processing their own emotions is not one of their greatest strengths. Their focus on the emotions and needs of those around them can make moving on or accepting loss a bit more challenging for the INFJ. This doesn't mean they can't find a way to heal and move forward. It just means the process can be a much more difficult and sometimes overbearing one for the INFJ personality type. Accepting loss. Accepting their own emotions can be a serious challenge for the INFJ personality. They are very much connected to the feelings and emotional needs of those around them. But this leaves little room for them to focus on themselves. They don't find it as easy or natural to understand their inner feelings, and it might even push them aside to help others. Sometimes, the INFJ does this because they care and don't want to burden others. But there are times when this is simply because they struggle to process their own emotions instead of dealing with their inner feelings, which can make them feel stressed and uneasy. They tend to the needs of those close to them. While this is part of what makes the INFJ so caring and compassionate, it can make it hard for them to process loss and negative emotions. Even when they know they need to deal with those feelings, the INFJ might try to bury them instead. They spend so much time fighting the emotions that they end up having outbursts without meaning to. INFJs don't do this intentionally most of the time. They simply don't know how to best handle those negative feelings. The emotions can feel so strong that the INFJ doesn't feel prepared to process or cope with them. To handle what they are going through, sometimes it seems like the best option to just bury those emotions and save them for later on. Instead of drowning in their sadness and pain, the INFJ tries to find ways to take care of everyone else and keep moving forward. Of course, this is part of why INFJs can retreat and distance themselves from even the people they love, since that pain can weigh them down eventually. Spending so much time neglecting their own needs and feelings can certainly be something that builds up over time for the INFJ. Eventually, they are forced to face those feelings, but it can be more challenging since they often come out all at once when they are feeling stressed or overwhelmed. They're unusually impulsive. INFJs in a stress-free zone are typically careful, observant, and insightful. They don't like to make sudden decisions because they want to analyze the implications of something first. When INFJs are stressed, the opposite is true. They become more impulsive, reckless, and hurried in their decisions. They may rush people around or become unusually impatient. They might splurge their savings, buy tickets for a last-minute trip, or blurt out something hastily that they regret later on. They are constantly tired. When INFJs are getting into regular flow states or being inspired, they have energy and optimism for the future. When they're depressed or uninspired, they feel fatigued and drained. INFJs without a vision for the future feel listless and apathetic, as if they're lost in a fog and unable to find a light to guide them home. In order to escape this reality, they may sleep whenever they can, slack on their responsibilities, or just shut down. They ghost you. If you're a good friend or a close family member with an INFJ and they suddenly ghost you, there's a good chance that they're overwhelmed. INFJs feel a lot of responsibility for their relationships and will often put other people's needs ahead of their own. They tend to do this for a long time and then suddenly out of the blue go dark. They withdraw from people, even the people they love, until they can re-enter a state of emotional equilibrium. During these phases, even the simplest text message can feel like a huge burden. Getting words out in a socially appropriate, friendly manner can feel confusing and stressful. Many INFJs have reported that they've lost friends over these ghosting periods. If you are an INFJ and you are reading this, try to give your close relationships a heads up that this can happen so that your friend knows it's not personal. If you're friends with an INFJ, try to be patient with them during this time. Understand that they are likely just overwhelmed and stressed, and it's not a reflection of their commitment or concern for you. How about you as an INFJ or any other personality type? How do you handle loss and how do you cope with the many forms of losses? Be sure to watch until the end and share your experience for a chance to have your comment pinned. Their process. For the INFJ, loss is something that brings them immense pain, even if it is just a loss of a friendship or loss of parts of their past. The INFJ will even mourn the loss of something which wasn't that positive for them, but they might see it differently once that person or thing is gone. They will recount only the good things, mourning the fact that they no longer have them in their lives. Letting go and moving on from loss is not easy for the INFJ, and so they tend to fight it with everything they have. At first, they will likely go into denial, not wanting to accept that they need to move on and let go. Even if there is no way of getting this person or thing back, the INFJ still struggles to let go, even if this means they hold it in their hearts and latch on for dear life. The INFJ is likely to do this to the best of their ability. They can certainly dig their heels in the INFJ attached to something, and so this is why loss is something that they don't take or cope with easily. Time alone is certainly important for the INFJ when they have experienced a serious loss. Without the pressure of those around them, if they don't have people to distract them from their needs, the INFJ does have more room and space to deal with what they are feeling. It can help to have one person who they trust, someone who doesn't allow them to ignore what they're going through. INFJs need someone in their lives who can give them perspective and force them to face their feelings and the reality of what is happening. Before we continue, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give us a like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the Official Personality Guru for more amazing videos. Don't forget to ring the bell icon to stay updated with our content. Moving on. Moving on is never simple or easy, but for the INFJ, it can be a real struggle. If they don't feel all that comfortable with change, and moving on often means dealing with change. INFJs are likely to fight this at first, which is why they do something that needs people who help them see that they have to move on eventually. INFJs will learn to move on when they can accept that they are not to blame for this loss. They need to process their inevitable feelings of guilt, since INFJs tend to blame themselves when something doesn't go as they hoped.